Welcome back everybody, and it's a fantastic morning outside. It's nice and sunny, it's pretty warm, so I thought I'll give me a chance to make a video. Now today's videos, there's no machining involved whatsoever. Today's video is solely about questions that's been asked to me on the look at my 4040 machine, which has been the CNC machine that I've had on the YouTube videos. And they've asked me, how do I keep the machine so spotless? And I've had this asked a few times. How do I do it? What do I use? How do I keep the linear screw rods greased and lubricated? And there's many different ways of cleaning the machine down. Now, one, I clean after every use. Don't lubricate after every use, but I clean after every use. I use a vacuum cleaner. I do have a dust hood, which takes a lot off when I use that. Now the unfortunate thing is with the rotor zip spindle that I like to use now, I think it's absolutely brilliant. It gives a good finish, good speed, everything. I can't use the dust hood. I have to resort back to the other 500 watt spindle, which is okay, but I tend to use this now. I'm not going to, as I said in previous video, I'm not going to spend any more money on putting a water cooled spindle on or an air cooled spindle. It's just, I've no need to do that because I've got the Pro machine. But I've noticed a lot of the questions that I get asked. What do you do about the dust and that? I have a vacuum cleaner, but you don't pick it all up. No. If it's a bit difficult to because my ways that when I'm using the CO2 laser, whether I'm using diode lasers, exception to the rule is the 3D printers. But or the CNC machines, if these are in motion and doing a project, whether it's for 10 minutes or whether it's for 5 hours, I do not leave these unattended. It's a golden rule. You leave a CNC machine or a CO2 laser or a laser diode unattended, you are asking for a serious problem. Accidents happen, and I don't mean to yourself, I mean accidents happen. Things can catch fire, bits can get stuck and break, and as I say, the only exception to this is the 3D printers, and you can end up with spaghetti. I do know that if you leave them overnight, but majority of the time mine's watched by a camera anyway. So if I'm leaving it running my 3D print and it's upstairs or down in the workshop, I'm constantly monitoring it, and if I see anything go wrong, I stop it. But I don't walk away from CNCs or lasers. It's, to me, I don't know what anybody else wants to do, it's up to them. To me, it's taboo as that. You're asking for serious problems. So what I tend to do is, if I'm running the 4040, I've got a massive dust hood for the Pro machine and a big extractor which is over there, big stand-up one. It's in at the moment, and that draws most of the dust away from that one, from the main one. But same as the 3030 over there, I do not have a dust hood for that. So what I do is I stand with it with a vacuum cleaner, and as it's machining, I let it machine a little bit, vacuum it off, machine a bit more and vacuum it off, and that's what I do. And I don't care whether I'm stood here, I can be pottering, but as long as I'm in the same room, I go back and vac a bit more off. When that job is finished, I vac down. I don't put something else on, just clear where the workspace is, clear down. I vac around, I clean it. Okay, now when you do that, you're not leaving the dust to settle on everything, because the one downfall with this 4040 is there is the guide rails are pretty not self-cleaning, but they do take a lot of the dust off when it's working backwards and forwards, because it's got like dust seals on. But unfortunately, the lead screws do not have that, and these machines should have had flexible boot dust shoes put on, so that no matter which way they move, it keeps that lead screw clean. Okay, because there's no mistake, if you do not clean the rods, or just vac down, let it build up and vac away, and get a brush and just brush it, you'll end up with what I ended up with, and I've done it in a video, where I had a bit of a lock-up on the right side of the machine on the lead screw, and when I took the lead screw out, it was packed inside the anti-backlash. Now, I clean mine now, but depending, you know, how much I've used it, obviously, but if you've used it a while, then I tend to take the rod out, clean it, wipe it all, I wash it all down in isopropyl alcohol, put it back, a bit of grease inside, and then put it back in, then lube up again, and I do the same with the left hand one as well. And you can do the same with the one for the X-axis as well. It's imperative that you keep them clean. I can't stress that enough, because what happens with mine is, I was cutting some ovals out, not ovals, sorry, I was cutting some circles out, and I thought, wait a minute here, they weren't quite meeting up at one particular point, and this machine cut perfect circles, even on laser, even on CNC side. They met up perfectly. There was no step where it plunges in and then it comes back round to meet that plunge. It was perfect, and I noticed it went out by about 0.5 mil. I thought, that's strange, and I watched the machine, and the machine was actually dragging itself a little bit backwards and forwards. It wasn't as quick as the left hand side, and I thought, that's it. Took it out, cleaned it, tried the same circle, absolutely spot on, it cured it. So it is imperative that you keep these machines clean. Now, as I say, what the video is about is, how do I keep it so spotless? Now, this machine has not been moved or used since probably about the 15th of November. The simple reason is, as you well know, I've had a knee operation, a full knee replacement, and I've only just got back into the workshop. So I haven't used it. I haven't been able to use it, or want to use it really. I want to get my knee up to 100% strength, and it's getting there. So I cover it. When it's not in use, I have a blanket I put over it. I don't put plastic over it, because plastic doesn't let it breathe. And anymore, I mean, my garage is under the house, so it's really dry. But if you've another garage, you need something that will, don't matter if it's one blanket or two blankets, something that will keep the moisture off, okay? Because if you don't have anything on the rods or anything like that in a moist area, you can get rust, which will then drag. It'll give you further problems. But I don't have that, so I throw a blanket over it, keeps the dust off, and I've taken it off, and it's spotless. It's just like I've last cleaned it. Now, if you remember, in one of my previous videos, I made the side skirts which slide into the T-slot table. Now, these have been absolutely spot on for me, because what it's done is it's stopping that dust splatter sideways, because obviously where they cut it, it'll throw it sideways, and it keeps a lot off the lead screws and the guide rails. Now, it doesn't stop it falling in, because it's obviously ending up in the air. That's where your vacuum cleaner keeps a lot of it away. So you cut down a lot, but you can still get quite a lot of debris on the lead screws. That's, to me, that is the main thing that you need to keep clean. Okay, now I've had one or two questions. Is, do you use a machine a lot? You don't show a lot of machining or your projects that you're doing it, and the simple reason for that is, it isn't that I don't use this machine or use a 3030. I very rarely use, well, not very rarely, unless I've got the other month I cut some on the main machine, the Pro machine, because it's bigger, I actually cut some plywood panels out, a pattern for somebody to line back of the van with. Well, I did 3 vans, so they brought me the plywood and I cut them out and I did it. Okay, so you know, it will do small jobs, but it's mainly for the bigger jobs. But the 30-30 and this one, I tend to do projects that people have given me, like I get carbon fibre to cut for chassis out of cars. Now people's designs these, and plywood parts out for, believe it or not, model boats. People have given me the plywood and said, look, can you I've got a design, I've done it, they've drawn it up, can you cut it out for me? Yeah, not a problem. So they bring me a tailor and I do it. I don't show anybody else's work. It's just me, I don't do it. If I'm machining something for myself, which is probably very rare, the last ones I did was the Omar Beach lithophanes that I did, and I did it on the Pro machine, and yeah, I mean, they come out spot on. That was for myself and for somebody over in America that wanted, well, 2 that wanted them, so that was besides. But I'm busy with other things like sharpening saws, tip saws, sharpening chisels for people, 3D printing. As you well know, I do quite a lot on the 3D printers, and I've just been fixing some air staplers at the moment that have gone faulty, which are mine. I've had to order some parts. They haven't been used for a while, so I've had to repair them. That's another story. So that's why I don't show a lot. If I need to show something, like the rotor zip working, I'll put something on and show it working, how good it is. And I did that, if you remember, I did it with that. Showed you how the patterns, and you won't get any cleaner cut than that. I never sanded anything, it was absolutely spot on, and you measure between them, really accurate. And I repeated it and repeated it. I did the mortise and tendons, I showed you how to do those, and you know, there's joking to one side. Mortise and tendons cut on a CNC. If you know that option, I showed you how to do that. So the ingenuity and that you can come up with in getting things machined in different ways, is up to yourselves. But I do use it, and as I say, and it does get dirty, and I do clean it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is how I actually clean this. Now, what I'll do is I'll take you down, I'll show you the machine, and I'll show you exactly what I use and how I use it. Okay, so I'll move you down the machine. Right, I'm down at the machine now. Right, what I have here is some isopropyl alcohol. Okay, compressed air gun. Okay, now I have a large compressor, but you can get small compressors, and if you're going to invest in a machine like this, then you really need to invest in a compressor that will give you at least 100 psi with a small compressed air collection tank on underneath, or cylinder. Okay, and this, believe it or not, this air gun is a Parkside one. Got it from Lidl, really cheap. It came on a card with some other things, tyre inflator and what have you. But the difference is it came with a long nozzle on, which is ideal because, as you can see from there, I put that down there, it goes right down to the lead screws. Okay, so it's imperative that you use that, and you want at least 100 psi. Something that the aerosol tins aren't much good. They blow air out, but they don't get where you want. You need to put this up against the linear, the lead screws. Okay, and I use, most important, a brush. And this is the lubricant I use. Now everybody has their own ideas on what they should use, dry lubricant, and people WD-40, light machine oil, all sorts of stuff. I've had what they lube there was. You lube your machine how you feel fit. I'm not going to instruct anybody how to lubricate their machine, or rather with what item to lubricate it with. This is from Lidl, and I've tried various things. I've got some machine grease that you use on the Pro machine. Didn't like that. It's alright on ball screws, but lead screws, it's a little bit, I find a little bit gummy, a bit too thick. Okay, now this is a lithium based grease, okay, and I'll show you a bit of it when it comes out. So if you spray it in there, it comes out as a light grease, okay, see that, and it, as I say, as it's lithium based. So what I tend to do is spray some in the top, and then I have my brushes over there that I use to actually put it back on. This brush is actually to clean just while I'm blowing. So what I'll do is, I'll take you through the steps. What I'll do is first connect the air hose up, okay, and then once you've done that, I always start, I don't know why, I always start with the right hand y-axis, okay. So what I do is, I would normally take this back as far as I could, okay. Then what I do is, on either the offline controller or my MPG controller, I set the lead screw, and I do it on a relatively slow speed, and as it's moving forward, the nozzle goes in, and I'm constantly blowing. I blow a certain area around the lead screw. It needs to be turning because you only blow the top, so you blow it backwards and forwards, clean it, okay, and then I'll go in with the brush and just flick it, blow it again a bit further, blow it again a bit further, blow it again a bit further, okay, till you've blown and cleaned all that. Now you'll find out that a lot of stuff you blow will go underneath. Now the debris would fall onto your guide rail underneath, so you've got to remember that has to be cleaned afterwards. And all I do is use a cloth or a piece of paper towel, and I put that underneath, and then just wipe that rod clean. It wipes clean easy enough, okay. Now as you can see there, you can see a residue of that lithium grease, and it's on the brush, okay, but it's only because it's already been greased, okay. I'm not actually touching that with that. This is just muck from it, from when I do it. So once I've blown it this side, then I do the same, returning the lead screw back there. So you clean both sides. I do the dust seals there, and I do there in front and at the rear of the anti-backlash. Once you've cleaned that, then you know the guide rail, the lead screws are clean, okay. I then get a cloth or towel, put it underneath, wipe these, wipe those, okay. I then do the left hand lead screw, do it the same way, blow it, and you've got to keep the lead screw turning, okay, and then blowing. You must do that, and brush it with the brush. It doesn't take, you can stop it and then do a bit more and then move it on and turn it. You'll get into a rhythm with it. Then once I've done both y-axis, I do the x-axis. Do it the same way, and then wipe it off underneath. And then once you've done that, I mean, you can see there's minute parts of the lithium grease on the guide rails, but you've dust seals on these, so it tends to slightly wipe them clean. Where you end up with problems is if you get rust on these, because the rust, if you don't notice it, will nick the dust seal, and once it's nicked it, it'll allow stuff to pass into that, okay. So be aware, if you know, always look for rust on these if you're in a moist area. All right, so now because I have these on, as I say, a lot of the dust doesn't go in it. It's nearly always falling down if it's going to get any. These aren't too bad, and I do the same then with the z-axis. I clean the Z-axis, do it the same way, wipe everything down. Okay, now if I find any stubborn parts where it's a little bit, I think, manky up, I don't like that, I use that. I have another brush, put some in a little cup, put the isopropyl alcohol on, and then brush it in, and it normally takes it out. Okay, and then once I've done that, I blow it, and it tends to make this evaporate and blow the dirt off with it. So they're kept ultra clean then. Then to lubricate it, I have another brush like this over there. It's wrapped in a bit of a plastic bag so that it doesn't harden up, because you need it to be, you know, if you leave that on, you'll find out it'll harden up a little bit in the air. So you want it to be maintain itself as quite soft and supple. And then what I do is spray some into the lid of the lithium grease. As I say, you can use whatever lubricant you want. I'm just showing you what I use, and it works for me. And then put some on the brush, then I do the same, back to square one, my right hand side lead screw, right tip back, and dab the brush in, and as it's turning I just touch the lead screw. Okay, you don't thicken it, and then all I do is with the guide rails I just gently do that. Okay, and same, you can get down with the brush to the bottom and just do that as you're moving it in. Then do the other side of it, do the left hand side, then lead screw, do the x-axis the same way, and then do the z-axis. And then once I've done all that, the lubricating, what I tend to do then is I just move the machine backwards and forwards, left and right, up and down. Once you've done that, the machine's lubricated. These rods do not need soaking in like a machine oil. I've seen people send me pictures, you think I've put too much on. Oh God, you think it was inside of an engine. No, they just need lubricating, that's all. Just a light bit on, and if I put that a bit of that grease on there, that's all I would do. Okay, that's it. Underneath, round that side, backwards and forwards, same underneath. And look, you can see it there now, it leaves that like a lithium particles on it, and with the grease, I find that's what I use. I don't use anything else. I even do this system now on my Pro machine and also on my 3030, and I do not find a problem with it. I even on my X-Max down here and my 4Max Pro 3D printers, I use this a little bit on a smaller brush, and it's brilliant stuff, and it's cheap. I wait for it to I mean, that's lasting me ages, but I think it's about $2.99 a tin from Parkside, and you can get it on the internet. You'll be able to get that in other makes. I don't know, I just saw it and I thought I'm going to try this, because I tried various lubricants and I weren't happy. You can tell what gums up more than others. Now I don't get a problem with missteps, tight parts now, since I do the lead screws. As I say, I do them depending on usage. If it's had a heavy use, I'll probably do it once every month, but if not, 6 to 8 weeks. I'll take it out, check them, put them back, of which I did a video how to do that and take them apart. They're not, you know, beyond everybody that's mechanically minded. It's reasonably simple to do. Okay, so that's what I use. There's other makes of these you can get, but the long nozzle you might be able to make some yourself and adapt something, but it needs to get in to blow that lead screw there. Okay, you need to blow out of the threads, and the brush just assists it with getting it out. Takes me to lubricate and clean this, it probably takes me round about an hour to clean them, everything, blow them, clean them, lubricate them, and get it to running again. So an hour for machine maintenance I think is pretty good, but you'll get your own rhythm up. But as I say, people's asked me, and this is people's has their own ideas on how to clean the machines. You do whatever you feel's best for yourselves. I've just been asked to show what I do to keep this machine so clean, and that's exactly. And as you can see it now, it's been covered. That there's no debris on here because the blankets keep it off. Okay, you can buy special covers. That's fine. You get a special cover, but when you've got an old blanket, and we all have old sheets of blankets, get one on it. Get a couple on it if you're in a cold, damp garage. It just helps. And if you're in a cold, damp garage, one guy, and it was quite a good idea. I'd never thought of it really. He has to work in his garage, and he's a couple of machines, and he said to me, "I'm having problems having to." You could see specks of rust forming on some of the surfaces, and I was worried really. And what he did was, he covers his with blankets. Like I said, that's what he did. He has a old quilt that he puts over, but underneath he puts one of the moisture traps. You know, the that you buy. It's in a container with the granules in, and he puts that on the table, covers it up, and he's found there's no moisture. When he comes to take the blanket off and it's cold in the air, there's nothing. So that's a real good tip that came from somebody, and I said I'd pass that on if and it works. Now I've noticed a lot of people, they ask on some of the forums a question, and they get a little bit. In fact, what I'll do is I'll turn you around. I don't like talking with my hands, just my hands, so I'll turn you around and put you back on the machine. Right, my back around. I don't like talking off camera, so to speak. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the forums where they admit they say we're new to this and we're wondering what to cut, what should our feeds and speeds for the cutting aluminium. They want to make this and they want to machine that and this and other. And some of them has bought the new 4040 Pro Max, which is, I believe, has the uprated X-axis gantry and Z-axis, and they're asking about cutting aluminium, and the people say, oh, you want to aluminium, want to use these speeds, and it upsets me because they're new to CNC work and they're wanting to machine aluminium. If you're starting as a new, or what the class themselves as newbies to the machining world, CNCs or 3D printing, start off learning the machine, what the machine does. If you've got the offline controller or the MPG controller, you've bought it as a pack, I don't know, then just learn how to use the machine. Basics: cut wood, do various patterns in wood, do various simple things. Start off simple and get the knowledge into you about feed speeds and alter things before you go on to aluminium, because you start cutting metals on this, you'll end up with broken bits or something will go wrong because you won't have something right cutting metals. But general questions about things. So yeah, the other thing is, on some of the forums you see a lot of questions being now sidetracking. If people ask me questions on my channel, then if I can answer it, I will do, to my honest, my ability. If I can, I will try and find the answer for them and pass that back to them. But on some of the forums you get people asking questions, and then they get a lot of, not insults, but comments back that's really unacceptable really. And and you can see them, they wish they'd never have asked the question. Everybody, when you've got a CNC, has to learn at some stage, and then keeping that knowledge up there, you've got to keep at it. If you get a CNC like this and spend a month using it, and you'll get quite proficient at, you know, repetition work and setting the machine up and how it works, whether you use the offline control. And as I say, I only use the offline control. I don't connect it to PC. There's too many dropouts. I don't get anything with that. You put the program in, it runs, that's it. And along with the MPG, it's a good combination. But you leave it alone then for 2 months, you don't get time, you've got to go back to that and try and draw that, how did I get that before? And then you're having to learn again. So if you've got one of these, you need to sort of keep on top of it, keep, you know, using it and playing around with it. Just keep your memory functioning on how you've done certain things, and it comes naturally. I mean, I use it quite a lot, and I use that quite a lot. So, but of the 3D printers, and sometimes even I come down and think, wait a minute, what setting did I put that on? So, you know, it happens. But please, if anybody's asking, you know, on the forums out there, if anybody's asking questions about them, treat them with respect. Don't send insults back at them, because I cringe sometimes from some of the remarks that people, as though they shouldn't be on forum if they don't know about this, don't know about that. We're not all experts, you know. We all try as best, and we all try and learn. So just remember that. But that's it for the video. I just wanted to show you how I clean it. I've been asked, and I said if I get asked anything, I will try and show. So it works for me. What I use: isopropyl alcohol, in the way I said, lithium based grease. It's light grease, good blowgun nozzle. You definitely need compressed air. If you can't afford it, then understandably you'll have to find some other means of keeping it clean. But a lot harder than not using compressed air. I mean, you can pick them up cheap enough, well under £100 now, a little compressor that'll do the job. And a couple of brushes, one for the grease, one to use when you're using your blowgun. That's it. Can't say any more than that. I hope the videos help people, and just showing them what I do. As I say, the videos I've just done on the solar panel, the inverter, I will be doing a follow-up to that, because I've been asked 1 or 2 questions on that. And I can't do that until I get it back off warranty and get that installed by the engineers from Oval Renewables, and then we'll go take it from there, see how it's producing. So don't forget, like and subscribe, it does help me, and notification when my next video is coming on. I've been trying to get back into the swing of doing the videos, and as I always say at the end of my videos, for God's sake, be safe and be careful, and bye for now. Bye.